I don't know if there is somebody already here or if it's already counting for someone else. Hello. Just wait a little bit for see if more people are arriving. Hi Gloria. Nice that you could make it this time. Yeah, I know that's for you. It's a little bit earlier as I usually do. It's kind of hard for you. But yeah, glad you made it today. How was the Oshila TRECENA for you? And hello for everybody who is arriving. We are just starting here with our live. Just having a little chat before we start the analysis of the Oshila Tijax TRECENA. So tell me, how was your TRECENA? Or your stuff? Yeah, was tough around for me too. And I think for most of the people that I spoke, they told me that it was a tough TRECENA as well. And yeah, there are some TRECENAs that like doesn't go, they don't help too much, on your favor. Stress fight, yeah, Khan stuff. Khan represents when is the fury. Can it be even the fury when you accumulate an anxiety? So well, like this is the rage, just like the way we connect with the rage of the sky. And it's the now of the fury. Can represent the stress. Something like this can represent sometimes the enemy, as could be as someone else. Come to our way. Just to make a mess of our path, but also can represent the intervention that you have to do to avoid this stuff, or enemy sometimes being the poison, like the fury that you get you stuck inside of you if you don't put it out. So maybe you're gonna be collecting internally, and that's something that we're gonna be seeing in this TRECENA. Hope this one's better. Yes, there is no such a thing as good and bad TRECENAs. There is always like a point what we have to analyze, what we could do, like to balance our path. There is no such a thing, oh, that TRECENA is gonna be good, like we don't know. Remember that we cannot take an association and say, oh, I like that novel, because you need to see like how the other novels are going to deliver for the other novel to do their work. So remember, like no novel makes sense by itself. That is always, it needs the others to make sense. So they are passing the baton like to one another, and then the other continues developing what the other one left. Just like if you have like when you change the boss, so the other boss is gonna be doing the work, maybe changing some things from the previous boss. So that's how we see how we exchange the days. Like always the current day is gonna be working with the other one left. And as we are talking about this fury side of Nanao Khan, that maybe this TRECENA could be a little bit tougher for some of you. Maybe it could have been the TRECENA where you had like a clear vision at the end that allow you to act like more, like to see things clearer, to intervene, like just to be more precise in the things you wanted to do, the changes you wanted to bring in the TRECENA. As we opened the theme of the new changes, where the TRECENA spoke about home, the lineage. So these changes they were accumulating fury, or these changes, they needed an intervention so they can continue going, so you can get pass through these gray areas of can bring. I felt extremely exhausted, TRECENA, especially at the end. Yeah, this is a very consuming TRECENA, because as I was saying, is the fury. It's something that can consume, like if we are not able to cut like this rage of this TRECENA, or like as you mentioned, feeling exhausted, that's something that can be related to now our cut, like when you burn all your energies. That's what we saw as the number 12 in the TRECENA, the 12 cuts. So it's the extra energy, so you may be feeling extra extenuated if we don't pay attention. Of course, like if you can take something that is good for the Naokan TRECENA, because you can like work a little bit harder, like you can have like work more efficiently, like work like wiser, like with Kame, to be more precise, to have the clear vision intervening there. But sometimes it can accumulate anxiety, can accumulate rage, just especially because we can talk about these aspects of anxiety, but that anxiety that starts when you have a task to do on your hands, or you have something to do that is not pleasant for you, and then sometimes you can go there, but sometimes every day it starts adding. So Kame represents when that anxiety is a little bit more intense over there. So it's a sign that maybe you need to intervene. So if you felt like you ended up extremely exhausted by the end of the TRECENA, you need to go back and see like what were the aspects that led you to feel that way, like, or what could be the now that maybe you got you stuck, or maybe change like the TRECENA all of a sudden. And but whatever happened in the past TRECENA, now we're gonna be talking about the big cut. So if you accumulated poison, anxiety, exhaustion in the past TRECENA, now we can use this one to cut, to avoid or to prevent that stress and that heaviness to become a burden, to become something else, as the days go by. So in the past TRECENA, if we were able to do everything, to intervene, to solve all the problems, maybe this TRECENA can start a little bit lighter. That we're gonna be starting with Kame. So this TRECENA of the healing, we can cut the stress of the past TRECENA. We can use to heal something that we got left during the path, something that for any reason we couldn't not transform yet, or maybe we are just too anxious for the transformation to be over, and that ended up us to accumulate anxiety. Because sometimes we tend to neglect the time of the process that things sometimes take, especially in this digital era that everything happens so fast. Like if you do anything here, like it needs to be fast. So we are kind of tending to flow towards to be like especially with shorter attention span with this new era like it's taking, we're going to be having like more difficulty to gestate things, to respect the time that some things happen. The digital era can be fast, super fast nowadays, but we are still humans. We still pay with this body that we have, like with this conduct that we are for the novels. So many things we need to pay attention, like not just things, but also the way we treat our lives, with the way we are treating ourselves. Everything counts with the things we are accumulating, and what we are seeing are just a repercussion with the novels. So if in the past TRECENA, like was a TRECENA, you were able to see through the illusion, you were able to eliminate the poison before it got spread in the TRECENA, you start this TRECENA with Kame with a new support of the ancestors, something that you can start clean and light, and maybe after seeing through, maybe you can already see a new connection with the ancestors. If we ended up collecting in the past TRECENA trouble, or ended up collecting poisonous like or angriness, this TRECENA can be one that can start with a heavy heart. Can be from exhaustion, can be for something like that. You feel heavy, like you need to load off or unwind a little bit. So, or feeling that something is not correct in your life, after some stress. Kame, it starts with this heavy heart, or this sensible heart, something that can be very fragile, because Kame is one of the most fragile of the novels that talks about the ancestors, talk about is the novel of the death. We talk about the ancestors because the spirit of the ancestors in the Maya philosophy, the way that we follow life, flows in the wind. Flows in the wind, also carrying the memories of all the experience of all those that are already deceased. And then we can also encounter also our dead ancestors. We can also encounter some other experience that we can connect with. That sometimes we can relate into that with the singing of the birds that we listen in nature. Sometimes we are so heavy-hearted, and sometimes we suddenly listen to a sing of birds that cuts, like that thought that you are bringing you down, or something that like you were able to think straight, and then you start to pay attention. And sometimes you translate to word, or translate to a sense that is just calm down, relax, just like trust in something, or maybe a sign for you to do something specific that only you know at the time. So the spirit of the ancestors is floating in the air. It's, as I say, everything is alive. So even the spirit of the ancestors, they can come to guide us in the moments that we need, especially during hard times, that sometimes we may be able to find the presence of the ancestors to help us, to bounce back from where we fell. So Kame is going to be talking about the support from the ancestors, support, having this guidance, to guide our lives from that. Could be, like that gentle push forward, just like when someone wishes you well, when you have support of the people like you need to impress, for example, or the people that wants your good, wants your well-being. So that's the realm of the Kame talks about. So, but if we start with the frustration, just like when we associate with our deceased ones, like we are the ones who stay, we need to carry the burden of not having someone we love, by our side anymore. So we kind of have, that wounds that feels like never, closes. Every time you touch, you kind of feel that longing that for that person, like you kind of miss that. So that's also a realm of Kame, that to explain when your heart is heavy because you are stuck with something in the past. But what we need to learn, that even like when we lose someone, we can even stay in communication, that we can still feed their spirit with the Maya calendar, to understand, the cycle, to help feeding the ancestors in there. They can listen to our voice. In this TRECENA that we're going to accumulate until Oshi Lahu Tijax 13 cut, we talk about the healing, but we also talk about the healing because of the connection with the obsidian that was using for extirpation, just like with the doctors, for incision, for surgeries. But it's also the now of the medicines. It's also the now of communication, but more as the words that heal and the words that hurt. Just like the way we're gonna be connecting to ask support of the others, like the way how we're gonna to communicate, to bring people, to bring attention to people for something that we need, maybe a help or someone to heal our path or anything else. So Tijax is going to be leading for us with Kame to know how to express our communication, to talk to the ancestors, to bring their healing in case we need, or it can be also not only to the dead ancestors. We can talk about with someone we simply want support, or we simply want to, for a consultation for a healing that we may need to heal those past stresses. So Tijax is going to be talking about communication, also talking about cutting to remove the negative. So this TRECENA is about, if we start with the suffering or for something that got our heavy heart, we got this TRECENA to cut the negative stuff and bring things back into balance so we can progress in our path. Is the TRECENA to cut, our sorrows and everything, like we've been, sensing all our dramas, so we can walk freely the path. But if we don't take care of the path, this sorrow, this heaviness in the heart, this heart oppressed, can accumulate in wounds, can accumulate on being hurt, or it can accumulate in more stress into you, where you can offend or can be mean to someone because you are already under lots of pressure inside of you, maybe exhaustion, maybe rage, maybe the fights you had can also start mixing up the emotions. So it's a very emotional TRECENA, this that we're going to be starting seeing from this one. As the previous one was a more masculine TRECENA, more intense, more like rough, as to say, this one can be more feminine to bring the healing, to cut the poison. So after Kame, that we start with the ancestors, just to communicating with the ancestors, just asking for the help, is the day where the ancestors, is said that the ancestors listen to us more easily, and also Tijax works as an enhancer for our speeches, for the things we have to say for them. So it's a great day to start, acknowledging what kind of help do you need, what kind of suffering you need to cut in this TRECENA, or what has been bothering you. So it's a good day to start acknowledging that. And then from Kame, we go to quer, to dear. Now 2 is a now of the retraction, like when we take one step back, or when we calculate things in the TRECENA, how we're gonna see where everything fits. So it's like when you are in the backstage, seeing like how people are working, so you know what you gotta do. So you're gonna establish your vision for the TRECENA. So you retract so you can go forward. And now quer is the now of the deer, is the now of the altar. The altar is the place where we do the communication with the ancestors, with the spirits, with the nowos, everything. So it's the place where you use to achieve balance. So it's going to be talking about spiritual strength. So in this TRECENA, that's going to be talking about the healing, this big incision. So we're going to be having to retract to our spiritual strength to overcome a suffering maybe. So maybe we need to go back to see where we fell, so we can see how we can go back to balance, so we can continue on. To make sure the emotions are not gonna emerge so quickly, that you have things a little bit more under our control, because we know that sometimes things can just simply blow up. So, but at least we could do like more conscious decisions to be a little bit more on control of what could happen, or the possible outcomes. So quer is the day where you establish what you're gonna do. You do your calculations, how you're gonna be balanced yourself. Maybe you could see, maybe I could talk to someone that you feel like that makes you feel comfortable, someone that makes you feel understood about something that you're experiencing. Maybe that something is not big yet, but as the TRECENA of cut, it's a good TRECENA to consider it and do a cleaning. Maybe go talking to the therapist, or go talk to a friend or someone, or just go listening to something that makes you feel grounded before you continue on. Don't let something that you got from the past TRECENA keep with you, like if it's not gonna add to the path of your life, it's not gonna add to the meaning of the purposes you chose for your life. So it's a day to go back, or to pause a little bit, to obtain balance so you can go forward. Otherwise, the deer will be acting as like a mule, or we're acting as a moose, like the one that is stubborn, the one that you cannot control, is reluctant to walk. And that can already start, inflammating the TRECENA, like when you just block everything. Care can also sometimes, if we don't do anything, if we don't push hard to move the care, like can be something that block our way and we are not able to open the path later. And then from Cape Care to deer, we go to Oshib Canil, 3 seed. Now 3 is the water that opens the path. So there is the attempt of overcoming an obstacle. Is the now of the divergence. And now Canil is the now of the potential to germinate. Is the now that commonly we listen talking about abundance. But Canil is only the potential of something to multiplicate. It talks about how you're gonna use the complements that the seed needs, or the complements that you need maybe to keep going, maybe just to give a push forward. So, and in the TRECENA of healing that you already spoke about, obtaining balance. So first thing, let's check our spiritual balance so we can open the path. So now we see maybe we need a little bit more push. Now 3 can help us, just to get things going. Now Canil, we always need a complement. We need the right dosage for us to open the path in a good way. Because Canil, the seed will need water to germinate, but it needs the right amount of water. With less amount, will not germinate. With more water, will rotten. And if you have the right dose, will germinate. If you have the plant, you need to take care of the plant. So if you don't use the proper amount of fertilizers, they can be something that's going to be intoxicating your harvesting. So you don't want to harvest something that is poisoned with something that you faced in the past. So Canil is going to be opening the path for the right complement, or opening the path for the potential of something to multiplicate. As Canil can act as an intoxication when we abuse of substances. For example, if you use, as is the TRECENA of the medicines, Canil can talks about when you use a pill. Like if you're feeling a headache, when you take a pill, this is the realm of Canil. When you are using something, or when you drink lots of coffee, you ingest substance for you work a little bit better, or maybe you can have like a different experience, or alter your consciousness, to do something, or if you're going to smoke weed, or you're going to get drunk. So that's the realm of Canil, what you ingest to your body, to keep you in balance, or to make you keep going. We know if you don't, open the path, like if you don't have if you are not balanced to consume this stuff, or not able to use the right dosage, that can be what's going to be intoxicating us. And remembering what is the difference between the medicine and the drug is the dose. So that's a very important first step that we need to pay attention in this TRECENA, is Oshib Canil, because 3 is a masculine now, is going to take things forward. And Canil is going to be needing the complement. And if you're not feeling the support, if you're not balanced enough for that, Canil can just open the path for you to start intoxicating, wanting to escape for something that you're feeling, or trying to go too artificial about something. So it's about, the key in Canil is about opening the path, being precise, like with the right dose of additives that you use for you to enhance your performance, for example. And then from Oshib Canil, we go to Kahib Toh for fire. Now 4 is the water that stops, it's what gets stagnant, or just simply pauses over there to accumulate more volume. Just like a well that is just waiting, it just receives the water from the rain. So it's slow, the process, but it's slowly getting strength. sometimes we may not even feel, can also represent something that can be permanent. For example, if the past TRECENA we're spoken about anxiety, this rage of now Kame, Tor is the now of the sickness, is the now of the price of the sacrifice that you do for the things you want to own, or the things you want to have power over. So Tor will deal like with the price of this, because sometimes the price for you to achieve something, or you want to be a millionaire before the 40s, so you have to work a lot maybe, or maybe just do whatever like you can just take from your health, if that's the main goal. So now Tor is now that makes you consider if you are really sure about something that you are following, something that you are taking, because it's the one that's demands a lot of stuff, just like the fire demands the fuel to grow, that you have to go all the briquettes over there, it needs like the wind to bring up, so it's a very demanding novel. And how the Tor collects on us is with our health. So it's the main thing. It's the now of the blood, talking about our vital energy. So for you to understand in this TRECENA, if something started bothering us in the previous one, we're going to be continuing the nows to develop in that situation. So maybe now Tor can be something that could be when you manifest the sickness in your body. So you become stagnant with that because you weren't able to achieve balance. You weren't able, to avoid the intoxication in the now seed together, or like in the right dose. So then now Tor can represent when you are already sick. You are stuck with some sickness. But if we use the TRECENA for the healing, is when you can stop to make, to cut what you need. Maybe you don't need too much fuel, because otherwise you're gonna be burned. You get burned with the fire you are ascending. So that's something that you need to be very careful in our talk, to see like the weight of our choices in there, or in something that, or to establish what we need to cut in there, what kind of disease. Maybe it's not yet, or hopefully it's not yet, manifested in your body, as a sign of communication in there. But could be something that you can be attentive to the signs that were messed up with you before. Could be maybe something permanent. So that's why you need to be aware with this that aspect of now Tor. And sometimes in this TRECENA, indeed, the emotions can work as the wind that's going to be making the fire go up. So it's about to control our fire, to control at least a little bit, the sacrifices that we're going to be doing this TRECENA for not getting hurt, for not ended up, increasing the wounds that this TRECENA could accumulate. Remember that everything starts from the spirit, then goes from here and then manifests your body. So you need to be paying attention on how we are proceeding. So that's why it's a good TRECENA to pay attention on the signs we receive, around us during the days. Maybe it could be the ancestors, sending you signs for you to find your healing, or for you to find the right thing, for you to cut something that is bothering you. So it's a day to pay attention to avoid becoming stuck with pain. And then moving from Kahib Tor, we go to Hob Tzi, 5 dog. Now 5 is an hour of the overflow, is an hour of the water with no containment. After the water, gets full with the recipient, and then adds some more, overflows. So that's the nature of the now 5. So you cannot contain that. Just like when a dam breaks, so you have a complete destruction. And now Tzi is an hour of the emotions, is the now that talks about, like all of these inconstancy of the emotions that can be adding as the air that can blow things up in this TRECENA. That's why it's a fragile TRECENA, because like the oppression in the heart, like the suffocation in the heart of Kame, like the sadness, can provoke the emotions to overflow. Sometimes you don't want to let go of a trauma you just had, that it just adds more to the emotion. With more things, the more reluctant you are, sooner or later, the emotions you're going to overflow. So you're going to lose the control. And C, we talk about this emotional confusion. Just like when the dog that loves the owner is completely loyal, goes there and bites the owner because maybe the instinct got in between. Maybe you're just going to whenever you feed a dog and then you're gonna take away the food, he can bite you because the instinct of the survival can come into play. So the dog can go blind and bite the one that he swearing loyalty or the one that he loves, and then later he's confused. So that's the sort of confusion that we talk about now at sea. Now at sea also reflects when you talk about dirty sex or being kinky. We talk about being like the now of the chaos when you are like when you when you have sex because you feel bad about yourself, like you do something dirty. If Kanye we talk about just trying to escape a situation by taking medicines, C talks about is the realm where you try to compensate things by having sex, or sometimes where you feel like a guilty sex, for example, or make something that makes you feel dirty when you are corrupt by the emotions that you just go crazy into that to escape something. And that's why it's the now of the chaos, and it's the Kiche counting is the last now, because then after the chaos of Tzi we have the return of the order in our bats. But see, we were with the now 5 in this TRECENA, we're gonna have these rough emotions. This rough emotion that might be hard to control. So it's a good day to do an incision to see like what do we need to look after the emotions. Maybe you are stressed. Maybe the ways to talk to the ones that you trust. See, we can associate with trust as well, the ones that you are loyal to. So go and talk to them, call them and talk about your problems, communicate with them. Use this power of Tijax to express yourself, to let them know what do you need. Sometimes their company, like the years are going to be something for you to unwind, for you to load off something that you are carrying over there. Maybe talk to someone can help to calm down the emotions for not letting them overflow. So that's where you can maybe find the true power of healing among your friends. They could be like this overflow of healing that we need. We know like that our path during this life is always nicer when you have someone to share our experiences. Like even if there is something like that doesn't seem to add sometimes because you're used to have these friends, they are our healers most of the time. Like the ones that we trust to talk about, intimate things. So Hop T could be, this overflow of emotions where you can find this healing. But on the other side, depending on things are going to this TRECENA, can be something that can corrupt you. Maybe something that can corrupt your integrity, like things that you never thought you were able to, maybe because you're just so dragged by emotions you ended up doing and feeling dirty later. Just like when you see the dog, looking at regretting something or feeling confused. So it's the confusion that can be dangerous in this TRECENA. Because if Tijax is the knife and it is the most intense and most present now in this TRECENA, it's just like you are carrying a knife in all of the days of this TRECENA. And if you are emotional carrying a knife, you can end up getting hurt or hurting somebody, especially for confusion in emotions or something that you're already suffering or something is already bothering you. So that's why it's a day to pay attention as well on how things can blow in here. And moving from Hob T 5 dog, we go to Wakib Bat 6 thread or 6 monkey. Now 6 is the heart of the TRECENA. It's like where it leaves all the dramas and maybe all the entanglements that we may find in this TRECENA, all these lines that we need to cut. It's in BAT, is the heart of the TRECENA. So maybe we can talk about what the stuff that we're going to be having to ponder in this TRECENA. All the ideas, maybe all the trials to find a solution. Because now a BAT is now to put things in order, to put things in action, like it's to connect the dots. Maybe after a while, after you calm down your emotions, you are put into a point of perspective of where your decisions are taking you. Maybe you may be able to find some clarity, or some resolution of how to solve a problem you are facing. So maybe by taking into consideration, you can analyze and see, oh, I did this with that other person. Maybe the other person is making me bad. Maybe it's my job. So it's to ponder also about the work you have been putting on. So maybe you can just put the thread so you can use the hash to cut. So it's to ponder, like the possibilities for you to make the incision correctly, to do the action. Also a way to ponder your actions, the actions of your decisions, as well as they could be adding to what you'll be experiencing so far. Because BATS is going to be the now that is going to be ruling the next TRECENA. So if we don't take care, BATS can act as the implosion, make something that can be adding to your frustration with Kame. So we want to make sure we ponder very well so we make the right cut to act, the right cut to heal, whatever we have in our front to ponder. And then we go to Ukub E7 Pathfinder. Now 7 is the hot water, like the lava, like the geyser, like an orgasm, when you have like the warm release. So we talk about this hot water. So it's the most intense part of the TRECENA. So we talk about this climax. So it's where everything tends to lead when we see the novels. We are already walking halfway through the TRECENA, so we already know where the TRECENA is going. So now it's only a matter for it to see, the stuff getting bigger and bigger in front of us, or clearer and clearer, the more we get into the accumulation. The Pathfinder is the now of the road, of the path of the physical traveling, or when you read a book, or you watch a movie, or when you daydream to get insights or to enter into your zone, to ponder your things, your possibilities, or even the spiritual travel as well, when you participate in ceremonies to connect to something even deeper for even deeper insights. So in this TRECENA that we started with the ancestors, maybe with a new suffering or a new support or a brand new way to start listening to the ancestor or communicating with them, that reflects on our path, or how we're gonna to see stuff from now on, or how we're gonna build purposes, or how we're gonna progress, how we're going to advance for something that we're stuck, for something that has been holding us back. Could be suffering, could be something emotional. Because now can be the now associated with the melancholies. As the now of the path, so where you need to keep advancing, you need to continue going. Sometimes you experience some good moments, you want to go back and relive them in your memories, you want to stay there. But life asks us to continue moving forward. So it can bring the relentless of the path of left or leaving something behind. Or the time that maybe you feel that is never gonna return. So you miss that. In this TRECENA, we can also talk about something that could be like a pain from childhood. Maybe you live in a house, for example, and then you have to change the path that brought you melancholy, so your spirit can be a little bit lost over there. So it can be a way to evaluate there how you are internally, where is your spirit traveling, like while you are taking your decisions in the day-to-day. So you can see how you can finally advance, how you can finally overcome a suffering. Or if things are going in a positive way, you are getting the support from the past TRECENA, maybe this is where you can see, like the biggest potential, or where you have like this biggest like the big realization of something, of a meaning. You give sense into something after, after so long. Because 7A is completing like what the 1A started 240 days ago. So the now 7 works just like the 0, the transition from the final to the beginning. Because next time we see the now A, you're gonna return as a now An, as a brand new path. So now the 7 is finalizing all of this process of the now going through these 260 days. So then we can get like this experience from the path. Because sometimes, for example, what you are doing right now of where you want to get, so you don't have a complete vision. Sometimes you need to walk a little bit more. Maybe you need to wait some more time for you to see like how much you walked, to see, oh, that was the meaning, that why I was suffering. Or that's when you are able to connect the dots to what makes sense in your path. Just like when you look back and you see, oh, how much you evolved since you were facing a problem over that. You see how much you got big, but it needed time for you to realize that, to see how much you advanced. And that stuff that it only takes time for you to realize, and that what represents the 7 Pathfinder. This intense meaning, this intense realization that you can get, that can act as a healing. You knew that you had to go through all the suffering so you can put things into balance again, so you can go back to your path, so you can heal again. And so connecting the path with the communication, it could be the path where you can communicate with the ancestors to talk to them, to see like how they can guide us, is to get the insights from there, so we can be more precise with the healing. We can listen to the ancestors that can add to our path. So that's the importance of the 7A. That's going to be leading stuff in this TRECENA as well. And then from Ukub E, we go to Washakib Ah, 8 transformation. Now 8 is where the TRECENA restarts. If the 7 I spoke about being like the final time, like where things resets, 8 where you go back to do everything over again, but you already have the experience of the first half that you already walked. So it's just like when you're doing stuff for the second time, you have more peace of mind, you already recognize the patterns that you may be facing until it becomes bigger. You already saw all the potential that TRECENA could get in now A. Now it's just a matter to become bigger. And now Ah is the now of the changes, is the now of the house, the now of the lineage. So if we started with the dead ancestors, now we return with the lineage. Is a way to overcome, the passing of the dead ancestors, going through these great eras of transformation, or to overcome something that lets you with your heart heavy. So you could be returning over that. Because sometimes we need to go through stuff that are not pleasant. So now Ah talks about this process that are completely necessary to connect one side to the other, for you to find happiness, for you to understand your purposes. So you need to keep going. So now Ah is the return of this constancy, the return of these changes in your path. So if you start suffering, now the return to TRECENA is your choice. Do you want to continue suffering, not doing anything, just overlooking all the signs that you are asking? So now Ah is going to be the one that's going to make you ponder again. Or you change, or you go back with feeling gray, going back feeling anxiety, feeling bitter. That can add to the wounds in the TRECENA. So that's our new chance to restart in the TRECENA. All we go through the process of having to do something boring, or do something heavy, or something that hurts, but will benefit us after this effort. Or if we just become bitter, become cynical with life, with no Ah. And then we go to Belaer ish Valam, 9 Jaguar. Now 9 is the now that talks about what is hidden in the TRECENA, what is on the backstage, for example. Is associated with the stage of the water where it's in the underground. You know that it's water there, but you're not paying attention to that. It's running, behind, your sight. And now Ishvalam is cognate with now 09. When we talk about gestating or being in the dark, what is running over there. So we talk about this development that can be occult. Because now Ishvalan talks about the planet Earth, like the planet Earth that is gestating new life. We talk about the potential of the earth that you're going to plant, if it's a good earth for you to put your seeds, so they're going to germinate. Because the seed, remember in the beginning of the TRECENA, we spoke about the now 3 canoe, that is opening the path for the seed, for the potential to multiplicate. But you need the right complements for you to walk, for you to make the seed germinate, for you to have this potential to germinate. And Ishvalam talks about that it's going to be how you take care of your land to develop stuff. Because if you don't give any room for you to develop your ideas, because there is something bigger over there, taking control of your life, you're not going to be able to produce anything. So we're going to be into the barrenness side of the Ishvalam, where you plant and you don't get anything. So Ishvalam is going to be talking about this inner development that is can be happening, can be aggressive. If we do not look after, it can be something that can go against us. Ishvalam also connects to when you do a savings, it connects to the material stuff. Like in the Maya culture, there is no differentiation between the spirit, what we call as a spiritual, or the things we call as material. They are all part of one. They are all mixed up as one. So Ishvalan talks about this attachment to the material. Talks about when you do the savings for you to have like resources for your life, like when you save money. Talks about when you gamble as well, when you use the money to get more later, or when you make a stock but for later sell for a bigger price for getting profits. So talks about what you need to take care for your development. But can talk about when you get aggressive on the inside and not paying attention. Maybe your barrenness is the one leading to the wound of the TRECENA. But if you are able to look after the earth inside of us, just to develop stuff, maybe we see, like the potential for us to heal, for getting, fruits from the cultivation that we do in Ish. So Ishvalam is a day, just to go inside to develop what was being gestating, or maybe was being aggressive inside of you, or how you're gonna manage better your resources in case you need a doctor, maybe just like saving money for emergencies related to health, for example. You always have to have something saved for you. And then from Belaer Ishvalam, we go to Laur Tikin, 10 Eagle. Now 10 is a now of the convergence, where everything comes together into one single place. It's just like it's the one that receives but also gives. That's why you connect to the lake. The lake receives from the rivers or other streams of waters, but also gives for the animals that lives around there, so they can drink, so they can sustain their lives. So it receives but also gives. That's why we associate that form of the water to collaborate with others. Is the day where you can join forces with the others to solve something. And now Tikin is the now of the male eagle, that talks about that it's over there flying high in the sky and sees something. He sees the prey and goes straight forward. So that's the metaphor of the eagle that we apply in the Maya calendar, going straight forward. And the same applies for you to know how to move from A to B to do the action. But also when we talk about money, when we invest, when you use the resources that you accumulated in each. So it's going to be talking about doing like when you expend something, you spend your energy, you spend your money, you you go straight forward. Just like another association with the ego is the midday sun, the sun that has the strongest radiation right over there that you get in your head. That cannot be good for health depending on where you are, depending on how hot the place you live is. So the midday sun can be dangerous. So that can be adding to this wound side of the TRECENA, or can be hurting you, accumulating over there. But could be an excellent day for you to get the opinion of other people on how you can proceed into something, or how to invest if you are taking this side of the TRECENA, or how you can shape or carve your creations. Maybe Tantikinis ask the help of the other on what's the best way to expend your money or to do an action that you need, that you are disturbed. If you feel disturbed, you feel your head is all over the place, just like you have your vision but it's blurred, then Tekin can be the day where you can ask the help of the others to put yourself back into focus. Remember, the king has this the ego has this vision that can sees far away. But if you're not focused, you can get disturbed. You can get, all blurred. You don't know how to go straight forward to what you need to do. So you can end up missing what you target. So it's a day, Lao Tzu King can be the day where you can ask the help of the others to put your head in the same place. Tzu also associate, like when you say, like when you lose your head because of the emotions. That's also an association that you do when you go with your head straight away to hit something, like when the ego missed the prey and hits the floor. So 10 Kings can be a good day for us the help of the others, or to converge our visions, to converge everything that we've been considering, like all our sacrifices, to see what we can come into sense with that. And then moving from Lauch King, we go to Hulauch Ahmak 11 complementarity. Now 11 is the now that expands or dilutes in the TRECENA. It is one of the nows that release as well. Just like when you have a pressure pan, that you have like the steam of water spinning going, leaving the pressure pan. So it's the particles of water just flowing over there. It doesn't have a single direction, doesn't have a lot of strength. So we associated now 11 as the power of the water because it has the power to dilute stuff. And Ahmak is one of the nows that I also connect to the ancestors, but we talk about the newborns, the cycle of the newborns that gives us the continuation of generation. We talk also about the now that combines the complementary opposites. For example, the female jaguar and the male eagle. To combine them, you have a product. So it's associated that's the metaphor, when you combine something to get something else. But it's also connected when we do sexual relation, for example. But when you intend to procreate or to have a family, that's why Ahmak has this association with the family. So you can maybe understand that as getting a release of letting things go when something gets connected, have the emotional connection. So Ahmak is the one that makes you blind because of the emotions. It makes you act in incongruence, making mistakes after mistakes because you cannot see straight if you didn't pay attention in Tekin. So Hulauch Ahmak can be the day to let go of what you are holding back. If you are talking about the stresses of something that's emotional in this TRECENA, Hulauch Ahmak is the day to release the burden you are carrying. the weight of the decisions of the action of the others in your life. It could be. So it's the day to let things go. Or the day where, if we depending on how things are going in this TRECENA, can be what can expand the blindness, or maybe can expand the amount of people that are there to complement you to help. So it's a day where you can have this release towards this big healing in this TRECENA, because we cannot heal if we are still saving something inside of us. So that's something that we need to pay attention in Ahmak. We also have this connection with the sexual relations, because now sex, when you have like like a passive and one that is going to be active, and then you combine them, like just we have this trembling between the two bodies together, but not just making emphasis on the specifically on gender, just talking about the man and the woman, but can also make the connection with the vagina and the syringe, where you go for example in artificial insemination. That is also a way to express. So from that trembling, that you're going to be having a newborn, procreation. It's different than talking about sex as NLT that talks about kinky, or when you get dirty with that. Ahmad talks about sex, but in terms of procreation, of having a family, of being attached emotionally too much that you want the person next to you to create something, to create roots with that. And in front of Hula Ahmak, we go to Kabla Naor, 12 thoughts, 12 knowledge. Now 12 is the element surprise of the TRECENA, what comes out of the sudden. So it's the hidden balance of the TRECENA. Sometimes what you retracted in an hour 2 to calculate over there, maybe you could see something, but it was already calculating. Then you got accumulated a little bit of more volume in hour 4. Then you ponder in hour 6. Then you have what is running behind the side in hour 9. So maybe later you are confronted with what is running, out from your sight, and that's the hour 12. When something appears in front of you and you didn't realize, you didn't pay attention. You didn't pay attention that the water that you threw in the grass, made a plant germinate over there. Then you are wondering, oh, but I didn't plant that one. But maybe a bird just go there and just drop the seed. So that's the nature of the now 12. It's what comes as a surprise, or maybe something that comes to bring an additional. That's why we call it the cash out of the TRECENA. It's the last step for you to solve something before it becomes too big. Polarity, magnetism. Yeah, exactly. What comes, for example, another example to make that, if you have like good things in your life, only just good things, there is all going to be something that is going to make you feel the struggle. It's going to compensate. Or something where you experience like too much, pain or sadness, you're going to be receiving signs or something is going to be catch up, it's going to be bringing the balance. It could bring the people or the compliments that's going to be occur as a balance. But sometimes you can get an extra over there. But the extra, you depend on how we deal with, how we lead with our decisions. So 12 is this unexpected, this surprise of the TRECENA, or what grows in front of you that gets your attention. And now Naor is the now of the thoughts, the now of the knowledge, is the now that you're going to organize stuff, you're going to synthesize stuff. In the beginning of the TRECENA, we spoke about the Nawal bats, the thread, the monkey. So ponder about what decisions to do or actions to do. So now in Naor, after you ponder, you put everything into perspective. Maybe you can have like a bigger idea of the stuff that you're gonna do. So you're gonna be now Naor is the one that puts things into boxes to organize, to put the stickers. and that's for you to know what you're dealing with. So if you can see the stuff that you're dealing, like if you have the plan right in front of you, it makes it way easier to follow A to B. So 12 now is about having things organized. It's everything in the right place so you can do the right choices. Otherwise, if you're just pondering too much, can also, or many ideas over there, that can end up in now 12 now, leading to extra thoughts or maybe an obsession growing up over there. Because if you didn't heal like what you started with suffering this TRECENA, that can become like that can inflammate, that can be the extra inflammation for the cuts. So then the cuts of Tijax is going to leave more blood to heal. It's going to be more harsh, the cuts. The same way, if we accumulate so many thoughts, sad thoughts, we can become in obsession with that, not finding the way or just running in circles, because now just runs after his organization on how he organizes stuff. So 12 now can be, when you realize that, when you compress all your experience into knowledge of your life, so you can do better whenever you face that over again. So you have that book for you to easy access to get that information, to know how you're going to proceed. Especially because you need to be organized to carry the knife of Tijax. We cannot be acting as obsessive, because that can inflammate us, inflammate our being. So now is the day to, if you're hard-headed, if you're just lots of stress, especially during the work, it's a good day, just to unwind a little bit, just to go and do a meditation or go for a running, or whatever you do that makes you, slow down or reset a little bit, go take a nap. But it's a good day for not letting the stress get over, because they can be extra. Sometimes it can be something that you're already used to go, but that 12 can intensify that and bring in an extra. So 12 now can be the day where you can organize to see everything that you walked through in this TRECENA, so you can have this big realization. And to see also where you can map to cut, to be more precise on your cut. And then from Kablau Naor, we go to the final day of the TRECENA, the ruler Oshilahu Tijax, 13 cut, 13 healing, 13 medicine. Now 13 is what accumulates in the TRECENA, is the biggest entity, like the ocean, the entire ocean. Or like we can associate it also with the volcanoes, like those old entities, or what transcends, like after you realize everything big in front of you that you can ignore, like that's the 13, like what is already big, when you have to deal, you cannot ignore that. And Tijax is now of the healing, is the incision, is the cut to remove the negative. We also associate it with words, is the words that heal, words that cut. But we always tend to say that Tijax always leaves blood wherever it passes. It can be his blood or someone else's blood. That's why emotions play so much factor in this. Because if you feel overwhelmed by emotions, we be mistreating the ones that we like with our words. We can end up losing our head, ended up being rude with someone. That's where it enters the connection with the slander with Tijax. Sometimes you are just holding up too much, you cannot let go. In this TRECENA, you are unable to release that, you got obsessed, then you're gonna be having this slander, you're gonna be just talk to someone and just spreading your words to the wind to carry, slandering something that it cannot be good, that can maybe later go back to you. So that's the big problem that maybe Tijax, 13 Tijax can bring. Sometimes can bring, the heaviness of your words back to you, or can be indicating if you didn't take care of your health, you may be needing, something more stronger to go back to try to go back to the normal. But Tijax would indicate something that it's already past, like the the time. That's why the more we are aware about the decisions on how we do the TRECENAs, even if we are able just to reduce, like the weight of the decisions a little bit, it's good. Or if we just fall from the TRECENA, we see how we can balance things. What can we do? Like what are the possibilities that we can do? So Tijax is going to be talking about, what cut to do, what thread to cut. If the dramas of this TRECENA can be the many threads that can get entangled, Tijax is the one that it's going to be cutting the threads or the losing threads of the texture that you are building. Because the next TRECENA is going to be the bats TRECENA. So you need to cut the threads before it gets more entangled. So it's about clearing the emotions before we go back to work that represents the bats TRECENA. To avoid that maybe the poison accumulating in our Kame TRECENA go through the bats TRECENA as a final intoxication. So this TRECENA spoke a lot about healing from the melancholies from the path. Maybe cutting the sorrow that we may be needing, maybe a heavy heart that we may needing that is not allowing us to progress on the path, to fulfill our purposes. So that's why this big cuts, this big incision of the Tijax comes to play in action for you to cut, to do the incision. And Tijax can also be the communication that can make you, heal the others, or say something nice, or listen something nice. Maybe go to a therapist to talk about problems you are facing, and you can seem to find a solution easily. So it's about talking to the ancestors, asking for the guidance. If Kame is an owl that connects to the ancestors, Tijax can enhance the power of your communication for your voice to be heard by the ancestors, for you to maybe be accessing deep insights that can lead you to something better in your path, something that is already going right, or something that can take you away from a path that you're stagnant. I will be doing a lot of rituals to communicate with the ancestors and ask them for help to be my eyes. Great. That's a great TRECENA for that, Nathan. This Tijax TRECENA, because you have this connection with the ancestors. So if you need a healing, you can ask for a healing. If you need for guidance in your path, you can ask them for that. One thing that you can do, like the way that we do to communicate here with Nawals, is before sleep, we talk to the Nawal. For example, before you go into sleep today, you can talk already to Kame. You can maybe light a candle in your altar, offer a little bit of a glass of water. That is how we offer things in the altar. Water as a feminine and the fire as a masculine. So you can have like the combination of these both. So you light a candle for Kame and ask for a clear path, ask for signs, and just pay attention, during your day to day. Sometimes taking a deep breath, for you to inhale that. Keep in mind, like, what is your focus into that? For what do you want their help? For being your eyes, but for what? Try to be specific, maybe about, but not about like the language level to express, I want to make my company succeed. Can be that, but what is the emotion behind that? Like, what is the sense behind your decisions, your actions to do that? So the more you are able to talk about, to be more specific in this TRECENA, to ask for a specific help, bring, that healing that's going to touch also your emotional body, the better for this TRECENA. This can be a very, very auspicious TRECENA for that. And with this, I think we finish the analysis of this TRECENA. If you have any questions about anything about related in this TRECENA or anything else you'd like to ask, I'm here for a bit of more time. Another consultation condition to this. Hey, hi, Gloria. Yeah, cool. I'll be waiting for you. The first one was very fun to open the now with you. And you're right about very specific things about my pregnancy. I was telling my mom. Cool. Yeah, that's one of the magics of the Maya calendar. Sometimes it's more precise than we really want to. But it was really great for you to understand, like these conditions that act to your decisions. I'm pretty sure now you can understand better, how you take the decisions with that. I love the nighttime before bed ritual. Yeah, good. Yeah, this is the TRECENA for rituals. If there is a TRECENA that is good for rituals, is this one. And if you want to have like a flow of rituals for going forward, like can do like the most intense ones in the days like in Oship Kanil, 3 seed, Hop T, 5 dog. You can use Ukup E, 7 pathfinder. You can use Washakib Ah also as well for giving like a push in this TRECENA. Kabla Ur Naor is a good day as well. And so the ancestor is going to be giving the theme and the Tijax. For example, the number 1 gives you the first step, like you have the theme. But after you give the first step, like the interest with the ancestors, Tijax already started operating over there. So now 1 is like is where you choose the side, like the theme. So Tijax is going to be taking care and is going to be leading at the end. But yeah, it's this TRECENA that is connected with the ancestors. Not just because of Kame, but also because of Ahmak, also because of the Nao E, also because of all the elements that they are combined. So good to find somebody who understands me. Oh, good. Yeah, one of the things that was great that I found myself into when I talked to my Ir as well, because he's the one that understands me, like the one that knows how to untangle the situations when we get into this realization about the faces that we have inside of us. And it's so good because you can understand, you have this acceptance with your nature that makes you flow more easily. And like it's about inside, and they can help us because we can always do alone. Sometimes we need help, but sometimes not even just the help of the dead ancestors. Remember the Kame in this TRECENA also talks about the support you get from others, like the people who is living here. It's about support, or maybe the actions. Maybe if you what happens in TRECENA when you get left out, when they ignore you, that can also be something that refers to that. Any more questions? So, okay, guys, we had like 1 hour and 15 here. So as we already go through for all the novels, if you don't have any questions, we can close the live. And Gloria, feel free to reach me anytime this week, so we can do another consultation, so we can continue from where we got left. So, okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this live. If you have any questions, if you feel like reaching me for anything related to the Maya calendar, any help that I can offer to you, I'm all free on Instagram or on my website, mayadaykeeper.me. Thanks for sharing what the tones are. Reaches. Yeah, feel free, Nathan. Thank you for joining this TRECENA analysis. With time, it gets easier and easier to follow the TRECENA, to understand, the aspects of life that each now rules when you talk about being more practical. So it's good, yeah. Just with time, like the more rounds you go with the calendar, the more you learn about life, the more you learn about yourself, the more you learn about nature, the ancestors. Yeah, that's great. So anything you need me, I'm here. Wishing you all a great trust ahead, lots of healing, lots of connection with the ancestors, and see you all in my next live. All the best for you guys.